We are now just 2 days away from the 95th Academy Awards. And I've restarted this video several times, guys, because my camera keeps shutting off for some reason. So I'm sorry about that. So if I feel like I'm rushed, I'm trying to get through this quick, that's why, because I'm afraid that somehow this is all of a sudden just going to quit on me and stuff. So I don't know why it's having a problem here. But anyways, from the last video, I have made like 3 or 4 changes in some categories. I've kind of re-looked at some things. I've seen some of the secret ballots and stuff that some of the sites have published. Heard some other people talk about various categories, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let me do a couple switches here and there. But generally speaking, though, we'll go ahead and run through the categories. We'll go from the shorts up to our way to Best Picture, and we'll kind of, just go through the last-minute thoughts and stuff, and why I'm making some switches, and why I'm sticking with other ones, and we'll go through it here. Okay, we're going to start with live action short, and just in the last couple minutes, that's another reason why I restarted. I was making a case for one, and then I just lost it. I'm like, no, you know what? I'm going to go for this one. I'm going the red suitcase here. I'm going to go for one. I've not heard anybody else picking this one yet, or at least fewer people picking it. But I'm going on this logic. Remember, in these shorts categories, not all of the nearly 9,000 Academy voters like to vote in these categories. Some of them abstain, and some of them, just leave it off. They just forget about it and stuff. So that's not to say that it's only the branch members or the branch members plus some of the others that vote for it. I think there's enough that see these that say, hey, this one or whatever. But particularly when you get a film that has passion behind it, when you've got a film that that just really people talk about, if enough people abstain and enough people vote for that passion vote, boom, that's how something like that can win. You could argue that's how Moonlight might have helped win with the preferential ballot helping it Best Picture 6 years ago now. So I feel like the red suitcase, this is one that I've heard a lot of people that are talking about this category, a lot of passion around this short. So I'm going to pick it here. Irish Goodbye won at BAFTA, and there is that overlap, which is why I was going to pick that one. And I had it picked up until about 5-6 minutes ago, but I went ahead and changed it. Le Pupil also has children in it for its subject matter, and traditionally speaking, you want to go with a safer bet like that, which is why I had it pegged out front. But this time I'm going to go beat my own drum here, and I'm going to pick the red suitcase and just see if I get it right. Documentary short. I kind of made a switch last time when I was on camera here. Stranger at the Gate is the one I'm going to stick with. It's not produced by Malala. She's not technically a nominee, but I feel like she's like a Sylvester Stallone who went up when Rocky won Best Picture and stuff. She'll go up with the I believe it's 2 nominees on the film, and she'll be on stage and stuff. They might let her say some words and stuff, and I feel like it's a good a good opportunity to award something like that. And again, this is where you do have some passionate voters here in this particular category that are like, hey, something like Elephant Whisperers or some of these other couple other shorts in this category. Yeah, they've got their fans out there, but a lot of people are pushing for this one and really like this one, so I'm going to pick that one for that one. So I'm going with 2 upsets, technically by the Gold Derby odds at least, in the shorts categories. My third one is not an upset. That's animated short, Boy, Mole, Fox, and the Horse. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and pick that one. It feels like the one, this is one of the safer ones for the shorts categories this year. So, I think that's enough said on that one. We'll move on. Into the tech categories now. Visual effects, Avatar. Done. No updates on that one. We're going to go ahead and keep with that one. The sound category, just the one sound category now. Top Gun. Yep, again, not overthinking that one. Just stick with it. Makeup and hairstyling, Elvis. I'm sticking with Elvis here. Now, if The Whale wins this one, okay, then we probably know where Best Actor is going. We probably know that Brendan Fraser is a lot more safe in that category. We know he's probably going to get it. As is, though, I'm looking at Elvis. It's more the in-your-face prosthetics, more obvious effects are with this one versus The Whale. It's like, he has pretty much, it's just the fat suit that's doing all the work and stuff, as some people have criticized, but I'm not one of them. But really, outside of that, you don't get a ton of, prosthetics and all that stuff involved with The Whale. So most of that stuff is with Elvis. So I feel like, again, when you do have people who are not necessarily in the makeup branch voting for this one and everything, Yes, I think they'll go with that. Plus, outside of All Quiet on the Western Front, this is the only nominee in the category that's also up for Best Picture. So you've got, general fans of the movie, I think, are also going to pick Elvis in this category for that reason as well. All right, let's move on to the music categories now. The song category, again, don't overthink it. It's RRR with Natu Natu. I think that one's done. Again, I don't know why some people are going away from that one with one of the Everything Everywhere All at Once picks in either of these categories. The score category, I'm going to go with the BAFTA winner here. I'm going to pick All Quiet on the Western Front. Babylon, I just feel like, generally speaking, if it was going to win this one, the BAFTA win, a win at BAFTA would have been really significant. Yeah, and I just feel also with this one, All Quiet on the Western Front, again, you've got that voter overlap with BAFTA that'll help it. You've got, and that goes for, I believe, Elvis as well, because that won the makeup category at BAFTA as well. But with Babylon 2, I feel like, obviously, when it came out, and some of those first early screenings and stuff, a lot of people, including myself, got really worried. We're like, uh-oh, what are we in for here? And since then, it has just kind of gradually dropped a little bit. And then it kind of went back up after it was still doing okay at the Globes and still getting a few things here and there. And then since then, yeah, it's kind of fallen into obscurity. It only ended up getting 3 Oscar nominations and 3 BAFTA nominations, all in the same categories. So perfect 100% overlap there. But no, I just feel like there's not enough passion for Babylon to win 2 categories, 2 out of its 3. I don't sense that. In all honesty, I think something like The Great Gatsby, which a lot of people compared it to, because Great Gatsby also, that one only had the 2 nominations as I recall. That one, it's like, okay, at least with that one, the visual splendor of it with the costume design and the production design, it was hard to ignore it. And that's not to say that it's hard to ignore the score for Babylon. Personally, I liked the theme, the kind of romance theme that's there. But outside of that, none of the tracks in the movie really stood out to me. You get almost like toward the end, you get like a Birdman type score element there, where it's kind of jazzy and everything. Which again, I guess that fits, of course, with Giselle and everything. But I don't know, stuff like that. I don't know if there's enough people that are going to vote for it. So yeah, I'm going to stick with All Quiet on the Western Front here. All right, moving on now to the what's the next one here? Production design is next. That one I am sticking with Babylon. It's won everything it could for production design. I was thinking about switching to Elvis here, just so that one and the other design category would match up, and then you've got history repeating itself twice, with Catherine Martin winning both Moulin Rouge and Great Gatsby, both categories. And Baz Luhrmann both times not finding a lot of success outside of those 2 categories for his movie. I thought about it, but I'm like, well, Elvis looks like it's in good shape for the for makeup. It looks like it's in good shape for that one. It could win Best Actor still. That one's still up in the air. That could be, could go either way. So yeah, let's see about that one. But yeah, so it's looking at probably 3, 4, a maximum of 5 wins if it surprises us somewhere. But I don't. Yeah, since it's not technically 100% going to be across, a history repeating itself thing, just in those 2 categories and stuff. Yeah, that's part of the reason too. A little superstitious there, but no, Babylon has basically won everything it could here, leading up to the Oscars in this particular category. Costume design, I'm going to stick with Elvis here. Black Panther, I just feel like a lot of people are just not picking it anymore. Ruthie Carter felt a lot more solid, say a month and a half ago, but since then Elvis has kind of started taking over. Yeah, plus it has the picture nomination over Black Panther and everything. Next up would be the film editing category. I'm going to stick with my Top Guns here. Very funny. But no, I'm going to stick with Top Gun here. Again, I look at it's the comparison I made last time. It's Ford v Ferrari. If Ford v Ferrari was popular enough to win both one of the sound categories, as it was split, 2 different sound categories at the time, and win film editing, Top Gun, I think, is popular enough to definitely win sound and the film editing category. I also look at it this way. Remember also when you get the 9,000 voters, you do have steak eater voters, so to speak, which are people that are more in the tech categories and stuff. And some of them maybe won't dig Everything Everywhere All at Once as much. I remember, we all thought La La Land was a pretty good bet in film editing that year. They go with the war film. They go with Hacksaw Ridge. And surprisingly, since All Quiet on the Western Front is not here this year in this category, Top Gun is the kind of closest equivalent you get there. And that's not to say that we're heading for, La La Land, the same, thing with Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't think we're in that territory at all. No. Because Everything Everywhere All at Once, we're not seeing any type of backlash against it since it started winning PGA, DGA, SAG, WGA, so on and so forth. We're not seeing anything like that at all. I'm just saying some of the people, though, because it's a movie that is not for everybody. I sat down, my mom watched it with me when I watched it the second time, and she stayed awake for it. We started watching it, and it was almost like 9:30, 10 o'clock, which is usually she's passed out by then. But and she was okay with it. She didn't really understand everything. It was, again, it was kind of later at night, so even if we'd watched it at like 2 in the afternoon, I don't know if she would have, gotten around it all that much. She doesn't like very many of those like later Avengers movies or stuff either. When you get into like multiverse and time travel and all that stuff, which some of that is all involved, of course, with Everything Everywhere All at Once. She just kind of checks out, and she did largely for the most part check out on this one. She still liked Kyo Kwan and stuff, but and she liked the daughter. She liked Stephanie Sue a lot, but no, with Everything Everywhere All at Once here in this category, I feel like there's going to be some voters in the Academy that feel the same way, though. There's going to be some that are just going to watch the first, 30, 40 minutes, and they're going to say, this is not for me. And how many of them, they still might put it, somewhere moderate in their Best Picture lineup when they're voting for Best Picture. But if they're voting in an editing category, I don't see too many of them putting it number one or just generally voting for it. I think enough people are going to say, oh, Top Gun. Even if that's not your movie, if you're just not into action movies or whatever, you watch the first just like 3-4 minutes, you watch the opening credits of that movie, and you see all the tight edits, and you see all the tight cuts, and you see how they do all that stuff right away with the aircraft carrier sequence and stuff. And it's like, boom, in your face, most editing. And that's why I picked it early. That's why I'm sticking with it. So that's my vote on that one, is I'm going to stick with Top Gun. In the cinematography category, it is tempting to go with Elvis here and say, yep, another glass ceiling is going to be broken here with our first female cinematography winner. And it could happen, and I could just be wrong about it. But just looking at just the trailers and stuff, because again, I haven't quite gotten to All Quiet on the Western Front with time and stuff this season, but just the visual look to it and stuff with its lighting and everything, it's hard to say that it's not going to win. Plus, it won at BAFTA, and it's like, I feel like this is one that it's got the 9 nominations. I feel like it's going to have, again, 1 or at least 2 wins outside of international feature. So I think this is one it wins in, and that's where I'm going with that one. So speaking of, let's get to the feature categories now. All Quiet on the Western Front, that one owns international feature. That one's done. Documentary feature, Navalny, I'm going to stick with as well. I'm hearing some people saying Fire of Love could be a spoiler here, but Navalny. It seems like it's got a timely subject matter and everything, too, so that always helps in either doc category. That's helpful. Animated feature arguably is one of the biggest locks of the night with Pinocchio. Yeah, and I don't see any reason to stray away from it now. Moving on now to the screenplay categories. No changes for me from last time here. I'm going to go with Women Talking for Adapted. Again, it's got the scripter. It's outside of BAFTA where it wasn't nominated. It's won everywhere else. It won WGA and it won at Critics' Choice as well. So yeah, no reason not to pick that one. So Women Talking. Original screenplay, I like my pictures and my screenplays lining up, so I'm liking Everything Everywhere All at Once in this category. Banshees did get the early win at the Globes, and then also won at BAFTA in this category. But again, predictable. Martin McDonagh, that happened last time, and 3 Billboards didn't have the steam to win Best Picture, and I don't think Banshees is going to have the steam to win Best Picture either. So I do see history repeating itself with that. And Everything Everywhere All at Once with the WGA win as well, and it is true Banshees was not nominated there, but it also won at Critics' Choice too. So it's not like it's, the only times it's gone up against Banshees it's lost. It has beaten Banshees already once this year. Yeah, so I like it in that category. All right, supporting actress. Here we go. This is a change. Angela Bassett, I'm sorry, I'm putting you in second place. You know what? I got to take a shot here. I got to go with the BAFTA winner. I got to go Carrie Condon. And I know all year I've been saying I'm not picking her because of the star making, she's not a star making role and everything. I looked at it again and I'm just like, you know what? The BAFTA voter overlap is real. It is real. And on top of it, again, I was, kind of like what we started talking about yesterday, or I should say yesterday, last video, which was 3 days ago now for me, in real time here when I'm filming these. What was the first thing I talked about? How it's weird that we're going to get our favorite film this year, the film that's favored to win everything is Everything Everywhere All at Once, to win Best Picture, I should say. That's, one of the top three of the year, and, in terms of, not just nominations, but, like, just in terms of, like, films that are projected to be heavy in the picture race. That one's there, Banshees, and then arguably either Fabelmans or All Quiet on the Western Front. I would say Fabelman's probably just for the prestige factor, plus it's up for director and everything, but that being said, it's weird that both Banshees and Fabelmans are both going to go home empty-handed. We just don't see that happening. The year of, like, Birdman, it was like Birdman, Boyhood, and Grand Budapest were arguably the top three that year. All three of them had respective wins, at least one place. Patricia Arquette was the win for Boyhood, and then Grand Budapest got 4 tech categories. So it's like, yeah, all three of them at least had one win, and we went through the years and stuff, but none of those recent years we've seen, of the top three, 2 of them go home empty-handed. Because you could say 2013 it was, American Hustle, which did go home empty-handed, but also you had Gravity and 12 Years a Slave, filling out the other top ones there. Both of those films won their share of Oscars. I think between the 2 of them they won 10, right? Which is the number of nominations that American Hustle had and lost. So, yeah, it's like even years where it's like, yeah, you've got a top 3, and it's like even if one of them goes home empty-handed, you don't get 2. And Banshees, again, it's got 4 acting nominations, which, again, we've seen a couple examples of, them losing all 4 acting nominations and stuff. And it's like, I just felt like I had to go with it somewhere, and this just felt like there's a little bit of an opening here, not just because it's she's the BAFTA winner. If she had lost everything, yeah, I probably wouldn't have picked her. But Angela Bassett and Jamie Lee Curtis, I talked about the Nepo Baby thing on Jamie Lee Curtis last time, and she could still pull out a win. I'm not saying it's impossible. Of course not. And again, just because I've been a fan of hers through the years and stuff, I wouldn't mind seeing her win at all. Angela Bassett, same boat. Been a fan of her for years. She's always a really great part of every movie she's in. So I don't mind her, getting an award for this. Now, again, with both these actresses, I say this, though. Is this a role that's worthy of an Oscar win? For me, I say hell no to both of these. Like, Jamie Lee, I'm sorry, but just being a tax lady and having hot dog fingers, that's not an Academy Award-winning performance in my eyes. In the same way, though, I can say, well, what about Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? It's like a guy who just drives around and then does some stuff in the third act. It's like, I never saw that as a big, like, Oscar-winning role, yet he did it. So I could be dead wrong about that. But both of these are also going for that Veteran Achievement Award type thing. And you could argue after the SAG win, there's kind of some fighting going on now. It's like, okay, who has, the longer, even though Jamie Lee's been around longer, film-wise, and probably does have more films in her filmography and stuff. Angela, at the same time, she's been doing some TV stuff. She's been doing all that stuff. She's a person of color, so I know there's been some arguments in the past about how we need to see more people of color winning in acting categories and stuff. So, there's an argument there, too. So it's like both of them are kind of butting heads. I feel like there's a legitimate vote splitting that's going to happen here. So, yeah, I'm going to say both of them stay in their seats on Sunday, and in a shock, we see Carrie Condon win. I think it's possible. That being said, I don't think I saw too many people on the secret ballots voting for her. There were a good number that went Angela Bassett. There was a couple that went for Hong Chow and Stephanie Su, and a couple that went for Jamie Lee Curtis. But I think I saw at least one that went for Carrie. I just feel like I have to take a shot here. I have to be, maybe I'm not the only one picking Carrie, but I'm like, I feel like I have to take a shot here, and I have to stand up and say, okay, money's on the line, just go ahead and pick an upset. Yeah. And I don't get me wrong. When I called the Anthony Hopkins one a couple years ago, I felt a lot more sure about that one. I felt a lot more sure about that one going into it. I had a lot more reasons behind me that backed me up and everything. And, yeah. Anyways, and personally though, for me, I have seen all 5 of these. Have I not? I've seen Black Panther, seen Banshees, Everywhere. Well, yeah. For me, if it was me voting on this, by the way, I would pick Stephanie Shu. I thought she was excellent in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Really, that's the one where I'm like, okay, that could be a more star-making role for me. I would vote for her. Carrie, I would probably put in second, though. I would say put her just ahead of Hong Chau, because Hong Chau is also really great in The Whale. But yeah, Carrie Condon, and she's got one other thing, too. Some other people have made this comparison. The long-suffering woman. A lot of those roles have won in Academy history. Let me think back here. Probably one of the more, maybe not recent, but like Jennifer Connelly kind of had that role in A Beautiful Mind. I thought there was one more recent example than that kind of long-suffering kind of role like that. And it's not springing to my mind. That type of role has been known to win Academy Awards and stuff. In a shorter example, you've got Network, which has a little scene like that, and she has a good blow-up in that. Beatrice Straight does. So Carrie Condon's got a couple decent kind of blow-up type scenes in Banshees. I'll tell you what, I think that could be a sleeper. That could be a sleeper that just happens to be right, but I'll see. And it's, either way, any way that comes down between those three, I feel like this one is, it's another thing too, some people have said, historically when you go to the Oscars, it's like when you get like a Marissa Tomei, a Mark Rylance, some of these surprise supporting acting, some of these surprise acting wins, they're in the supporting category. You could argue with like Meryl Streep winning Best Actress for The Iron Lady, which, maybe in retrospect, I was personally really shocked when that happened. I thought Viola Davis had it in the bag for that one that year, but and that was only my second year of like officially, third year officially predicting, where I was like keeping track of what I was voting for and stuff. But no, it's like, it doesn't really happen all the time in those lead categories. Jean Dujardin was a bit of a surprise as well for me that year as well, because I thought George Clooney was a really solid bet that year for actor, but. Yep, it's those supporting categories. That's where we get some of those upsets sometimes. One I doubt we're going to see as an upset in is supporting actor again, Kiyu Kwan. Done. Okay, remember what I said on Tuesday about Best Actress? Where's that juice at? I'm drinking it. Michelle Yeoh. I'm switching. I just feel like, again, we talked a little bit about it with the shorts categories there. Passion. There is so much passion from Michelle Yeoh. All you had to do was look at the reaction to not only the audience that was there at SAG the night of the ceremony when she won, but just look at Jamie Lee calling her out. Look at the excitement we also had at the Globe ceremony. Michelle has the backs of a lot of people in Hollywood, and Kate, I think she is going to get that third win someday. And it might be pretty soon. She might have another role here in the next couple, 2, 3, 4 years, where boom, she's going to be right back in the mix of it. But for now, I'm going to say Michelle. I'm going to say, riding off the Best Picture win momentum. We traditionally do see an acting category go with the Best Picture winner. Coda, that happened last year. Nomadland, the year before that. Let's see here. Nothing. Well, we knew Parasite. Yeah, that didn't have a chance because no actors were nominated. Green Book had that. Moonlight had that. Birdman did not, though. It had 3 chances, but it couldn't do anything. 12 Years a Slave did that. The Artist did that. Yeah, and that was one where it did pull in a lead winner. So yeah, just the passion and everything. I'm gonna go Michelle. But that being said, I'm going to be pissed if I get this wrong, because I was really going to stick to my guns here and go with Cate Blanchett because of the superstitious thing with the SAG rule and everything. Because again, I looked it up and it's like, and if you the Golden Globe thing, that is true. Somebody pointed that out. It's like, well, Michelle won the Globe as well as Kate did. That's true. So I guess, that one's, we'll have to modify that a little bit, where it's like, okay, you win a Globe, but then lose both Critics' Choice and BAFTA, win at SAG, and then move on. It's like, I'll have to see. There might be actually a couple examples of that, but we'll do the further research another day. Best Actor. I'm looking at this again. I've had him from the start. I don't think I'm going to switch. Brendan Fraser. I'm going to stick with Brendan here. So this is a case where I'm going to say the makeup category and the acting category wins do not line up. I'm going to hang on. I almost had it prepared here. I just forgot. I was right before the camera rolled here today. I was going to look it up. Best makeup and hairstyling. I'm going to look up because I know there was. I want to say there was a, not recent, but there was an example here in the last few years where we did have a film that was potentially going to win an acting prize, win makeup, but then not carry over. And I think I have it here, actually. Ma Rainey's. I had picked Viola Davis to win in Best Actress, and, that didn't happen. Instead, they went with Frances McDormand. Vice is an example. That's a category where, hey, we could have seen Christian Bale win, but he didn't. Let's see here. What was... I thought there was one other one, but it was in that era there. Well, Curious Case of Benjamin Button, yeah, Brad Pitt was not going to beat... he wasn't going to beat Sean Penn. Who's Mark Penn? Who the fuck is Mark Penn? I don't know. He wasn't going to beat Sean Penn that year, but the Ma Rainey's one is one I'm going to stick with and say, hey, I think that's a thing, Joker could have won. Judy could have won the makeup category in 2019. They went with Bombshell that year. So, there's times when it doesn't always line up, so I think this is one of them. Yeah, Brendan, I feel like he's got a lot of passion out there. Even people who didn't necessarily love The Whale, I see, on a lot of those ballots and stuff, a lot of them are still picking him. Austin had pretty much the other 50% of the votes, though. It was a very even split on those secret ballots that I saw published and stuff. But I don't know. I feel like, again, this could be just a thing where it's like, you know what? If Austin Butler wins this, I'm just going to have to say, okay, the rule going forward is, unless the actor who's not in a Best Picture winner, unless they just completely sweep the category all the way through the season, you got to go with the one that's in the Best Picture nominee. So, probably the one exception that I can think of more recently, though, is Regina King, who won at the Globes, won at Critics' Choice, didn't even get nominated at SAG or BAFTA, still came back at the Oscars and won. And with Brendan, he's at least nominated everywhere. It's just he didn't win BAFTA and he didn't win the Globe. And again, the Globe we're a little more dismissive of because of the allegations that he put out against a former president of the HFPA. So that one I'm a little more dismissive of. The BAFTA win, though, yeah, that was significant for Austin Butler. And part of me, was picking the momentum that, yeah, he was going to win the BAFTA, then he was going to win SAG, then it would be a much easier choice. As is, it's tougher. If Brendan had not won at SAG, then yeah, this would be an easy pick for Austin Butler. But I don't know. I gotta stick with my original intention here. If I'm making some last minute changes with Michelle, I can afford to make some last minute staying withs, if you will. There's probably a better phrase to say that, but whatever. Brendan Fraser. So I'm going to do that. All right, the directing category, that's the Danielses. I feel like, yeah, we've kind of been saying that here for a while. I actually started on that train not too long before the Oscars. Not Oscar nominations were announced, I should say. I just felt like, yeah, this is one where it's like, yeah, they're relatively early in their career, especially when you compare to Spielberg or some of the others there in previous years have been nominated. But some of them are Spielberg, who's been nominated a couple times in recent years. But no, I feel like, again, they might end up like the Michael Ciminos or the who's the other one I was thinking of, like a 90s winner that won for directing and then kind of disappeared. Who was it? Not Minghella. Minghella, I think, stuck around enough with like Cold Mountain and some of those other ones. You can't count him. Zemeckis has stuck around, obviously. Gibson has stuck around. We know Spielberg has stuck around. He won twice in the 90s. Who was it? And Clint Eastwood as well. He stuck around. Jonathan Demme? Yeah, he did stuff after and a lot of stuff before. I'm trying to remember who it was. There was somebody else in there, I thought. Maybe it was in the thousands, in the aughts somewhere. Somebody that won directing and then they kind of not disappeared, but they kind of, yeah, they just weren't, around much anymore. Didn't have too many follow-ups. But no, now I'm thinking about it, it's like they've all stuck around. They've all, at least, they've had some other opportunities, and some of their films have done okay. But yeah, it's probably the guy who did The Artist. That's probably the one I'm thinking of. But yeah. So yeah, that's where I'm going with that one. They'll still win directing. And then Everything Everywhere All at Once is my pick for Best Picture. So I do have it matching The Artist with 5 wins: 2 acting prizes, screenplay, Picture Director. I do not quite have it getting film editing. And I do think, though, if it gets film editing and tops at 6, then it does tie Hurt Locker. So since 2008, when that in that era ended, when we didn't have 10 or a sliding scale of Best Picture nominees, it would match Hurt Locker. So I split the difference. I originally had it at 4, then I'm like, okay, I don't see it doing a Hurt Locker and pulling 6. I definitely don't see it pulling 7. It really has to have a major upset in one of those other categories. And Jamie Lee Curtis, I think, would be number 7, though, on that scale, if we're saying, most likely to least likely for what the further wins would be. But again, I feel like there's enough infighting there. Plus, with her, too, a couple other people pointed this out, if Jamie Lee was on track to win this, and it was, maybe not from the very beginning, from when the film opened, but since the season has kind of started, we started seeing some of these precursors, nominating people and stuff, and we finally get to the awards show. Jamie Lee, probably at the Golden Globes, I think they would have gone with her. Instead, they went Angela Bassett. And yeah, it just feels like, okay, that could have been, a big bandwagon kind of thing. She just would have, if she had won at the Globes, I think, yeah, she would have won at Critics' Choice. She might not have won BAFTA, but yeah, then SAG, then it'd be a much easier call. But that's not quite how it turned out this year. So yeah, unlike say 2019 and 2017, where we had all 4 of the acting winners win everywhere, all 4 of the acting categories this year, we've had a different winner. At least 2 winners through each in each category. So a little more exciting this time in that way. But yeah, so I feel like, that's where we're at. Elvis I have pegged in, not actor, but I have it pegged in 3 categories with makeup, costume design, and what's the third one? I'm forgetting right now. I have it in 3, don't I? I have it in makeup and hairstyling, costume design. I only have it in the 2. That's weird. I thought I had it in 3. What's my third one? No, I don't have it in 3. I only have it in 2. Who else for multi-winners this year? Top Gun I have in 2 with film editing and sound. Babylon I have just in the 1. Sorry, it's All Quiet on the Western Front was the one I was thinking with 3. I'm sorry, I blew that one. All Quiet on the Western Front I have, that would get 3 wins with score, cinematography, and international feature. That's where I was going with that. Okay. That makes more sense in my brain now. Yeah, so Elvis getting 2, Top Gun getting 2, 3 going to All Quiet, 5 going to Everything Everywhere All at Once. So, yep, that would mean The Fabelmans goes 0 for 6. Tar, funny enough. And that's the other thing, too. I was kind of... I can't remember if I specifically said it in the video last time, but with Cate Blanchett not winning, Tar, don't forget, you get the argument, Everything Everywhere All at Once is in the same categories. But Tar was not a huge favorite to be a nominee in film editing, nor was it a huge favorite to be a nominee in cinematography. Plus, it was up for film and director at BAFTA. Plus, it got those nominations at the Oscars. So it's like, I think it's one of those that, early on I had it pegged at first just to get actress and nothing else. Then I kind of looked at it again. I'm like, oh, okay, no, that's director, that's picture, that's screenplay. Yeah, it'll get at least those 4. But I had it at 4 for a long time. And I think actually day of the Oscars, I didn't have it getting any of the tech categories, I don't think. I had it listed as a possibility in editing, but I never thought of it that highly in cinematography. I didn't think it really was a large possibility. I never viewed it in that way. So I had it pegged for 4. It got 6. It did 1.5 of what I thought it would do. So I was also very wary of switching away from Cate Blanchett for that reason. Bridge of Spies, remember, that had the same number of nominations. Also won an acting prize at BAFTA. So, yeah. So I was also very wary of that. And I was very like, oh boy, of that. But again, the passion around Michelle, I think, is going to explain that one away. And that's why I'm also going to jump on that train there. Let's see. Otherwise, Triangle of Sadness. Yeah, we knew that one was unlikely to win anything, so that's going to go 0 for 3. Otherwise, all the other Best Picture nominees are going to get at least 1. Women Talking will get its 1. Avatar will get its 1. Top Gun, again, at least 1. Probably 2 or 3. 2. Oh, sorry, 2. Just stick with 2, please. I don't know where else that one's going to win. Banshees, I'm pegging it for 1. Last second, I'm pegging it for 1. But you know what? Again, I'm going to take that shot. And I'm going to be proud of it when it happens, if it happens. So yeah, there you go. All right, that's all I got for now, guys. We'll be back again on Sunday, and we will recap everything. We'll talk about lessons learned at the Oscars. We'll talk about how the host did. I haven't mentioned him, I don't think, hardly at all. Jimmy Kimmel's coming back, which I saw the promo he did for Top Gun, and I was like, yeah, that was fun. That was a fun little kick on the movie and stuff. There's probably another couple of promos out there I haven't seen yet, but it's like, yeah, and remember his first year, the Moonlight La La Land year, I thought he was actually a really good host that year. I dug him that year. And part of it too was I don't watch a ton of him. I don't watch a ton of late night at all anymore. But for him, it's like I always like his Matt Damon squabble that he has going on. I always get a little kick out of that, even if it's getting a little tougher these days to not see the acting in it. It's still like I get a kick out of it. So I'm sure there'll be a jab or two on Sunday night as well. But I enjoyed him that year. The following year, it was kind of diminished returns. It was like, yeah, it kind of felt like more of the same and everything, which I think is fine. Nobody had that complaint about Johnny Carson or for Billy Crystal. But for Jimmy, I was like, yeah, it was just one of those things where it's like, yeah, it was just there. I don't think any of the particular jokes that year or anything from him, like none of them have stuck out to me at all. I think I've seen the monologue for the 2016 Oscars once or twice more than the 2017 ones. But yeah, I'm a little a little curious to see some of his jokes, and I think he can return and do a good job here. So yeah, let's see. Anything else I want to mention? I don't know. I guess that's it for now. So we will wrap it up there. We'll be back on Sunday. Let's see how I do.